So you're young, you're ambitious, and you dream of making it big in life. The issue is, you don't even realize that the things that you're doing on a daily basis are killing your growth. These same things are the reason why you're stuck and why you can't move forward. And guess what? Every day that goes by and you don't make progress, it's another wasted day you'll never be able to get back. And while you fall for these dangerous traps, another guy is working extremely hard in the shadows, and he will take everything that you want. So the choice is yours. Are you just gonna sit there and keep wasting your life? Or are you going to commit to building the life of your dreams, to rolling up your sleeves and getting to work? A few years ago, I was still broke, depressed, anxious, I felt lonely, I was miserable. I was not only wasting my time, but also my life, my potential. Now fast forward to the present moment, I've been able to completely change my life. I overcame my darkest demons. I built a body I'm truly proud of. And this is the sort of life I've been able to live so far thanks to building my own business. The type of life I had always dreamed of as a teen. Now look, I'm not telling you any of this to brag, like honestly I couldn't care less about that. In fact, if you know me, you know I hate speaking about myself. The only reason why I'm telling you this is to show you just how much you can change in such a short amount of time, as long as you're willing to do the work and you're not afraid to do what it takes. That's why my goal with this video is to share with you the 7 things that you need to avoid at any cost if you genuinely want to become successful. The first thing you need to avoid if you want to stop wasting your life, it's listening to the news. I never understood my parents. Every time after dinner at 7:45, they would turn on the TV and listen to the news. At some point, they were even doing it during dinner, and I explained to them like, I don't want to be hearing this. And for the longest time, they just ignored my protests. The thing is, most of the things that you're gonna see in the news, it will have no impact whatsoever on your day-to-day life. Like if you hear about someone getting murdered somewhere in the country, or some natural disaster somewhere in the world, what can you actually do about it? Nothing. And most of the things that are in the news, it's always filled with negativity, filled with fear. Why? Because these are very powerful emotions. It grabs people's attention and keeps them watching for longer. So no wonder why they always put negative stuff in the news. Fear, doubt, anxiety, sadness. These extremely powerful emotions have been used by the elites, by the most powerful people in the world ever since the dawn of human civilization to control the masses. Let's say you want to start your own business. You want to be free. You're not satisfied with just working a job for the same amount of money every single month. You want more. And you know that your family deserves more. But now when you tune into the news every single day, you hear about the state of the world. Everything seems so scary. So now the slightest risk in comparison feels like it's this big thing that you can't possibly overcome. So now because your head is filled with those doubts, those fears, you're not gonna actually take any risks. You won't do what you know deep down you need to do. You won't start that business because now you're filled with uncertainty. As long as you stay stuck in survival mode, you won't be able to change your life. You'll be focused on surviving, on getting that paycheck from your job. And while you might get a sense of safety from doing this, the downside is that your dreams will die. Now some people ask me, well, if you never watch the news, how will you stay informed? But these people don't even understand that big worldwide events, you will hear about those anywhere, even if you're not watching the news. I mean, what happened recently with the lockdowns, the pandemics all over the world, you couldn't miss it. Everyone was aware of it, even people who didn't watch the news. And there's always going to be someone else who watches the news and tells you about it. So overall, avoid the news. You're not gaining anything from it. Now the next thing, which is seriously destroying your life, it's actually social media. And now you might think, well, that's a bit ironic, you're making this video on social media. Like sometimes I had people comment on my shorts, you're telling people not to use social media, but you're on social media. Well, yeah, obviously, because if you're addicted to social media, guess what? You're on social media. So that's the way to get the message across. But some people, they can't even comprehend that. Countless studies have been done and have proven time and time again that people who spend more time on social media, they are more depressed. They report a lower life satisfaction in general than the people who spend less time on social media. On social media, you're gonna be exposed to the best types of lives. You will literally compare 1% of the life of the top 1% with your average day, your average life. So no wonder why you're depressed. But you've got to realize most of what you see on social media, I mean, a big part of it is not even real. And that's especially true in the fitness industry. You see these guys, they're gigantic, they're extremely lean, but in the real world, they look nothing like that. They're not as huge, not as impressive, because in pictures, they need to have the right lighting, to pose the right way, to have a pump, to be flexed. It's all about showing that you're the richest, the most jacked. Otherwise, it's hard to get people's attention. I mean, the reason why I post pictures of the nice stuff on Instagram, it's because that is exactly what people want to see. If it were for me, I wouldn't even have an Instagram account, believe me. Now, I'm not saying that social media is all bad. Social media, in fact, is the best way to grow your brand, to reach millions, even billions of people from all over the world. With traditional paid advertising, that wasn't possible. You'd put an ad in the newspaper, and that's it. Only people in the local area could see it. And on social media, you can find extremely helpful advice. Like on YouTube, you've got entire podcasts teaching you a lot about philosophy, about business, about relationships. You can find mentors, you can find inspiration. Because sometimes you don't have access to any mentors in your close circle. So the problem is not the tool, it's not social media itself, it's how you use it. If you use social media mostly to entertain yourself, you are simply wasting your time. In my opinion, if you're not using social media to make some serious cash, to grow your business, then you shouldn't be on it at all. And if you follow these so-called fitness girls on Instagram who only want to show off their butts, you're liking their pictures, commenting, what are you expecting? For them, it's as if you didn't exist. What do you hope to gain from that? Nothing. You won't get their attention. So instead, it's time to close Instagram, to uninstall the app, and to get to work. Only by doing this can you build the kind of life you've always dreamed of. And if you don't, I'll be honest, another guy will. He'll do the work when you don't. He'll get up early when you'll sleep in. He'll go to the gym when you'll be watching Netflix. He'll build his business while you'll be drinking, partying, getting a hangover it's gonna take a week to recover from. But if that's exactly what you do, you can't complain to not have what you want in life. Moving on to the next thing, which is wasting your life. It's TV and Netflix. On average, people spend 3.2 hours per day on Netflix. Over the course of a month, the platform collects over 6 billion hours of watch time. It always makes me laugh when people say, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to go to the gym. I don't have the time to build my business, to start prioritizing my goals, my dreams. And then you look at these same people, and for the vast majority of them, they're simply lying to themselves. They spend 3 hours a day on social media or on Netflix, yet somehow they don't have the time. The truth is they're simply not as committed as they claim they are. And fair enough, some people, they are truly extremely busy. Maybe they have a newborn they need to provide for. They work 2 jobs. They have no respite, no time to do the things that they love. But be honest with yourself, is it the case for you? Probably not. Just think about all the things you could do if instead you put those 3 hours a day on bettering yourself, on prioritizing your health and fitness, on cooking yourself healthy food to fuel your body properly, on doing some deep work to build a profitable business, to make so much money you can do whatever you want. You can even provide for the people that you love, retire your parents, give back. Yet you won't, because you prefer to mindlessly watch Netflix. And I get it, on the short term, it might be more fun to do that. You've got to realize that for your brain, it's always going to be more rewarding to watch Netflix, to play video games, to eat junk food, as opposed to doing the hard things that you need to do to reach your goals. But the issue is if you listen to your brain, you cave in to those urges. Someone who's more disciplined, he'll get exactly what you want, but you only have yourself to blame for it. Now, millions of young men every single day are watching porn. So not only are you wasting your time, giving your attention, your energy to these billion-dollar companies who profit off of your desperateness, but tell me, how do you feel after you've done the thing, you've opened up the incognito navigation, you got that release you were looking for? Are you gonna go and hit the gym now? Lift some heavy stuff? Are you gonna go and make yourself a healthy meal? Are you gonna go and do some deep, intense work to build a business that will set you free? Of course not. You'll just feel like staying in bed, scrolling on social media. You'll come across these people having the time of their lives, having such a fun and entertaining life. And so no wonder why you'll be even more depressed when you see all of that. And then you're gonna feel like watching Netflix. You'll order a pizza and you'll call it a day. But when your head hits the pillow at night, do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel proud of yourself? Do you feel like you did something productive today? Like you got closer to reaching your goals? Of course not. It's just another wasted day. Most guys aren't even aware that sexual energy is the most powerful energy source stored in the body. But instead of harnessing that powerful energy to reach their goals, most guys are simply gonna waste it on pixels on a screen. And the worst part about it, you're watching someone bang someone else instead of doing it yourself. You teach your brain you don't have access to it. You watch others doing it. How messed up is that? Now, if you truly want to be able to quit porn, you need to go off social media. And especially if you're on TikTok, on Instagram, you follow these girls, these fitness models, unfollow all of them. Not only are you giving them undeserved attention, but you're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. And again, it's time and energy that you can't put into reaching your goals, into becoming the best possible version of yourself. Now, most teens, most 20-year-olds, they think it's completely fine to go to the nightclub, to party, to spend so much money on alcohol, to impress people whose name they don't even know, people who don't even care about them. But what do you think you're seriously accomplishing when you stay up until 5 AM at the club? Now you're hangover, it's gonna take you at least 4 days to be back at your normal capacity. Try doing some deep work when you have a massive hangover. Do you think the quality of your work will be high? Obviously not. And you've got to understand that in business, to beat most people, it's easy. You just need to be a bit disciplined, to show up every single day and to do the work. I mean, to get in the top 1%, it's very easy. However, if you want to go from top 1% to top 0.1%, it's a cutthroat game, because you are no longer going to be competing against your average Joe, the person who isn't really committed, who isn't really hardworking. You are going to be competing against the smartest, the most talented, the most resourceful, and the richest people. So if you hope to beat these guys while you're massively hungover, you've got every single bad habit in the book, every single vice, every single addiction, well, guess what? You're gonna be competing against guys like me who sacrifice everything for their goals. So you won't beat me. Now, if you're not already avoiding it, you need to avoid alcohol. Alcohol is probably one of the things that messes up people's lives more than anything else. Like everything we've talked about so far, it's pretty destructive. But I've seen what alcohol does to people, how it reveals their dark side. Growing up, I saw my own father getting destroyed every single day by a job he hated. He had wanted to be a comedian, to be a cop in the special forces. He had many dreams growing up, but because he made the mistake of listening to the people around him, to his family, he never actually went after his dreams. He ended up settling for a mediocre career. He became a nurse, and while he found some fulfillment in the job, he was also undervalued and underpaid by his superiors. The truth is, in the hierarchy, he was just a pawn that they could move as they see fit. But instead of taking responsibility for his mistakes, for his choices, he fell for many vices, many addictions in the process, one of them being alcohol, and then he resorted to violence. So at home, it's not like we had a happy life, a happy family. For the longest time, I resented him. I resented him for being violent, among many other things. But nowadays, I do understand why he did those things. The truth is, for most people, they won't go ahead and face their fears, face their demons, look at themselves in the mirror and admit they've made the wrong choices, they've wasted their lives away. Instead, it's gonna be far easier to fall for many vices and many addictions. So if you currently use alcohol as a crutch to cope with your life, it's not going to be easy to quit. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I know it is possible and I know you can do it. No matter how many times you relapse along the way, remember this always. Recovery is not a linear process. And as long as you don't quit, at some point you will get there. Now, if you want to stop wasting your life, you want to stop underachieving, you need to stop playing video games. I will personally never understand how hundreds of millions of young men from all over the world prefer to play video games to improve fake characters, pixels on a screen, instead of playing the game of life, improving themselves in the real world. Like if I told you there's this amazing game, it's extremely realistic and you can do anything that you want, wouldn't you want to play that game? Of course. And then you realize it's the game of life. It's the most beautiful game that you could ever play. And video games are destructive in so many ways. I mean, you can go to school, you're bullied, you're shy, you're anxious, and then you come back home, you are a feared savage, a respected war general. But in the real world, you're really no one. You have no accomplishments, nothing to show for. Video game companies are extremely smart. It's a billion-dollar industry, which keeps growing year after year. They know exactly how to hijack your reward system in your brain. Your brain is incapable of telling the difference between something it sees on the screen and something in the real world. It's the same reason why people get turned on when they watch porn. The brain doesn't realize it's not real. So when you achieve things in a video game, guess what? Now you've got no more drive, no more ambition to achieve things in the real world. But I'll tell you this, the rewards that you get from your hard work paying off in the real world, they will always be worth 1 billion times more than any fake reward you could get from a video game. Now with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get to work.